I want to talk about dialects and the insecurity that I have felt through most of my adult life when it comes to not being in the town I was born. So, I'm from Malmoe. It's a very southern part of Sweden where we speak a dialect or a collection of dialects depending on where in that area you're from, which is much more, resembling Danish and Dutch and even Northern German, because those countries are close to that area, whereas if you're from the west or mainly the west, you will have a dialect that's more like Norwegian, much like in the far north where you're close to Finland, you will have a dialect that sort of like mimics the way they talk there. But Stockholm as a city is not really close to any other country, so we often talk about the national Swedish being, it's actually about 100 kilometers outside of Stockholm, where you basically don't really have a dialect. And growing up as a kid on children's TV, you would have a lot of dialects, different dialects, where you would do voiceovers for cartoons. You would have someone from Skåne, someone from Småland, someone from Gotland, but that has sort of, in my sense, sort of more and more disappeared, into this like the national Swedish, which means that kids growing up, they don't get exposed to other dialects as much as they used to, which lands me in the issue when I first arrived in Stockholm back in '99 when I did my military services. I went to a barber shop, and the guy just couldn't understand what I was saying. He was like, and I was like, I was really trying. And the thing is, for one, I don't roll my R's. Most people in Skåne, except for people living in Lund for some reason, don't do that. So that's already a problem. It works better in English because in English, the consonants are not as hard as in like stiff as they are in Swedish, especially national Swedish, because down in south where I'm from, we don't like to make sounds that is difficult to make. We would rather say something with a D even though it's spelled with a T. That's just the way we talk. We don't want it to be an issue. We want it to be easy to say, which is why skånska, the dialect I speak, is a good tool for rap and rock. It's just because there's no hard consonants. And even my mother-in-law, when we first met, she had major issues in understanding what I was saying. And the thing is, what some people do from my region when they go somewhere else, they start to change their dialect. But it becomes a dialect that doesn't exist. It becomes this middle thing that just sounds fake. It just sounds like a made-up thing. And I've never wanted to do that. I mean, obviously, I kind of, when I'm not at home, I make a little extra effort. And I mean, even the thing that one of the reasons I'm speaking English to you right now, that's how it all began. Back when I started YouTube, no one else basically was doing YouTube in Swedish. I mean, there were some, but it wasn't a thing. And also, I wanted the people to understand what I was saying on a broader sense. The people that I studied with when I was in Australia, my friends in Finland, my friends in the US, in Australia, and so on. And it was just easier, I guess, to do it in English. But whenever I end up in a situation where people don't understand what I'm saying, or really make a point out of I don't understand what you're saying, it makes me kind of fade back. It makes me quiet, and I don't like that. It's one of those things that has sort of, because of all these different events, always been something that's been laying on me, and still, the thing with having a dialect is that you can also play on it. You can also, there are certain words that only exist, and there are some words that mean completely different things, depending on where in Sweden you are. And I don't know. I had this discussion with a friend a few weeks ago, and who was also from my region. I was like, yeah, it was problematic, but for me, I can make an effort to talk slower or not skip consonants, but I don't think I will ever want to try and change a dialect, because it wouldn't sound like me. It wouldn't sound, my personality would basically be something else, which is not something I want. People watching this channel are from a lot of places in the world. Do you have certain dialects in your country that are more difficult to understand for you, even though it's the same language? Or maybe you live in a region where you speak a dialect like mine that is different from other dialects, and people give you a hard time about it. Let me know. It'd be fun to have a little linguistic discussion even on this channel. So thank you for watching, and good talk.